The sound of shattering glass echoed through the Manhattan penthouse, just as CEO Marcus Chen's world began to collapse. His phone buzzed relentlessly, board members, investors, clients, all demanding answers he didn't have. The company's revolutionary AI system, worth $500 million, had mysteriously crashed, taking with it the future of Chen Technologies. "Sir, your coffee." A soft voice interrupted his spiral of panic. Marcus barely glanced at Elena Rodriguez, the new housekeeper who'd started just 3 weeks ago. She was invisible to him, like all the help, there to clean, serve, and disappear. But today, something made him look twice. Elena stood frozen by his desk, her eyes fixed on his laptop screen, where lines of corrupted code scrolled endlessly. Her expression wasn't confusion or boredom, it was recognition. Pure, unmistakable recognition. "Is everything all right?" Marcus asked, more out of annoyance than concern. Elena's fingers twitched. "Your recursive function," she whispered, then caught herself. "Nothing, sir. I'll clean up the glass." But Marcus had seen it, that flash of understanding in her eyes. The same look his top engineers got when they spotted a bug. Impossible. She was just a maid. "Wait," he commanded. "What did you say about the function?" Elena straightened, clutching her cleaning supplies. "I shouldn't have. Tell me." She glanced at the screen again, and something shifted in her demeanor. The meek housekeeper facade cracked, revealing something sharper underneath. "Your recursive function is eating itself." Line 847. The exit condition is referencing a variable that gets redefined inside the loop. It's creating an infinite cascade that's overwhelming your memory allocation. Marcus felt the room tilt. Those words, technical, precise, correct, coming from a woman in a maid's uniform holding a mop bucket. How could you possibly know that? Elena's mask slipped back into place. "Lucky guess, sir. I'll go now." But when she turned to leave, Marcus saw something that made his blood run cold. On her phone screen, barely visible, was an IDE, an integrated development environment. She'd been coding. His maid had been writing code on her breaks. "Stop," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Fix it, sir. You heard me. Fix the code. Now." Elena set down her supplies slowly, like someone approaching a wild animal. "Mr. Chun, I don't think." "5 minutes," Marcus interrupted. "You have 5 minutes to fix what my entire team couldn't solve in 3 days. Do it, or you're fired." The challenge hung in the air between them. Elena's dark eyes flashed with something. Anger? Pride? She walked to the laptop with deliberate steps, sat down, and began to type. Her fingers flew across the keyboard with the confidence of a concert pianist. Code restructured itself under her touch, elegant solutions replacing the tangled mess. She didn't hesitate, didn't second-guess. In exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds, she pushed back from the desk. "Done," she said simply. Marcus ran the diagnostic. The system purred to life, smoother than it had ever run before. Not just fixed, optimized, improved. The work of a master, not a maid. "Who are you?" he breathed. Elena stood, smoothing her uniform. "I'm nobody, Mr. Chun. Just your housekeeper who happened to notice a pattern." She picked up her bucket. "Will there be anything else?" Marcus stared at her. This woman who'd just saved his company while dressed in rubber gloves and an apron. "This is impossible. You can't just, can I?" Elena's smile was sharp as a blade. "Maybe you should ask yourself why you assume a maid can't understand code. Now, if you'll excuse me, your son's bathroom won't clean itself." She left him there, staring at perfect code written by impossible hands, wondering if he'd just witnessed a miracle or the beginning of something far more dangerous. Marcus couldn't sleep. For 3 nights, he lay awake replaying the scene. Elena's fingers dancing across the keyboard, solving in minutes what had stumped his MIT graduates for days. He'd checked her employment file. Elena Rodriguez, 28, previous experience in hotel housekeeping, references solid but unremarkable. Nothing that explained what he'd witnessed. By Thursday morning, he'd made a decision. He left his laptop open in the living room, displaying a deliberately flawed algorithm, subtle enough to fool amateurs, obvious enough to torture any real programmer who saw it. Elena arrived at 7 a.m. sharp, as always. Marcus watched from his office through the security feed as she went about her routine, dusting, organizing, meticulously avoiding his workspace. Until she passed the open laptop. She froze. Her head tilted slightly, eyes scanning the screen. Marcus held his breath. Elena glanced around, confirming she was alone, then sat at the edge of the couch. She pulled out her phone, and Marcus zoomed the camera, began writing code. Not on his laptop, on her phone. She was solving his puzzle remotely, for her own satisfaction. Fascinating, Marcus murmured. What's fascinating, Dad? Marcus spun around. His 8-year-old son, Ethan, stood in the doorway rubbing sleep from his eyes. Just work stuff, buddy. Why are you up so early? Elena promised to teach me how to make cloud pancakes today. Ethan's face lit up. She knows everything, Dad. Yesterday, she helped me with my math homework, and she taught me this cool trick with prime numbers. Prime numbers. Marcus felt another piece of the puzzle click into place. 20 minutes later, he found Elena in the kitchen, creating elaborate pancake art, while Ethan watched in awe. She'd made a perfect spiral galaxy, complete with mathematical precision in the batter swirls. Fibonacci sequence, Marcus said from the doorway. Elena's spatula stilled for just a moment. Ethan wanted to learn about patterns in nature. And you just happen to know about the golden ratio? I read, Mr. Chun. She flipped the pancake expertly. Libraries are free. So is MIT's online courseware, apparently. This time she did turn, meeting his gaze directly. Is there something you need, sir? I need to understand why someone with your obvious intelligence is cleaning my house. Ethan looked between them, sensing tension. Dad, why are you being weird? Elena smiled at the boy. Your dad's just curious, sweetheart. Adults get that way sometimes. She plated the galaxy pancake. Here, eat this while it's hot. I need to speak with your father. Once Ethan was distracted by his breakfast, Elena faced Marcus. What do you want from me? The truth. The truth. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. The truth is that I have a sick mother whose medication costs more than your coffee maker. The truth is that I started a computer science degree at NYU but dropped out when my father died and left us drowning in debt. The truth is that I clean houses because it pays cash, immediately, and I'm very, very good at making myself invisible. Marcus felt something twist in his chest. But your talent doesn't pay rent, Elena finished. Talent without connections, without a degree, without the right last name, that's worth exactly minimum wage plus tips. I could help. Offer you a position, as what? The maid who got lucky? The charity case you parade at board meetings? Elena's voice was steel. I've seen how your world works, Mr. Chun. I've cleaned up after your parties, listened to your colleagues joke about diversity hires. I know exactly what I'd be to them. Before Marcus could respond, his phone exploded with notifications. The entire East Coast server farm had gone down. 40 million users affected. Stock price plummeting. Sir. Elena watched him pale as he read the alerts. It's happening again. Different system, same type of crash. He ran his hands through his hair. This could end everything. Elena glanced at Ethan, happily destroying his galaxy pancake, then back at Marcus. Show me. Elena. Show me, she repeated. Unless you want to explain to your son why his tuition fund just evaporated. Marcus pulled up the diagnostic on his phone. Elena studied it for 30 seconds, then grabbed a napkin and began sketching. It's not a bug. It's an attack. Someone's using your own optimization protocols against you, feeding the system contradictory parameters that force infinite loops. That's impossible. Our security was designed to stop external threats. Elena's pen flew across the napkin. This is coming from inside. Someone with admin access is sabotaging you. She looked up. Check your commits from the last 48 hours. I bet you'll find ghost updates from credentials that shouldn't be active. Marcus's fingers flew across his phone. There, hidden in routine maintenance logs. Unauthorized commits from a terminated employee's credentials. How did you? Because I think like someone who's been locked out, Elena said quietly. I know what it feels like to have the keys to the kingdom and suddenly find yourself on the wrong side of the door. She stood, straightening her uniform. Port 8847. That's your back door. Close it, revoke those credentials, and run a recursive sweep for any time-delayed logic bombs. Do it now, before they trigger the next wave. Marcus was already typing, shouting orders to his remote team. Within minutes, they'd found and neutralized 3 more hidden attacks. We stopped it, he breathed. Elena, you just saved. But she was already at the sink, washing dishes like nothing had happened. Elena, I'm not here, Mr. Chun. She didn't turn around. Your housekeeper doesn't know about servers or code. She knows about keeping things clean and making your son smile. That's all. But that's all, she repeated firmly. Some of us can't afford to be visible. Marcus watched her work, this brilliant woman hiding behind rubber gloves and practiced invisibility. He thought about all the talent the world must waste, all the genius mopping floors and serving coffee because the right doors never opened. What if I could make you visible the right way? He asked quietly. Elena's hands stilled in the soapy water. There is no right way. Not for people like me. Let me prove you wrong. She turned then, really looked at him. For a moment, the mask slipped entirely, and he saw the hunger there, the desperate wish to be more than what circumstances had forced her to become. Don't, she whispered. Don't make me hope for things I can't have. But Marcus had already decided. Elena Rodriguez had saved his company twice. It was time to return the favor. Marcus spent the next week planning carefully. He couldn't just offer Elena a job. She made it clear how she felt about charity. Instead, he orchestrated something else entirely. I need a babysitter for Saturday, he announced that Friday morning. The regular sitter canceled, and I have that investor presentation. Elena looked up from organizing Ethan's bookshelf. I could stay late if you need. Would you? I'll pay double your usual rate, of course. She hesitated, then nodded. Ethan's good company. What Elena didn't know was that Marcus had moved the investor meeting to his home office. The city's most powerful tech leaders would be right down the hall while she watched his son. It wasn't kind, perhaps, but he needed them to see what he'd seen. Saturday arrived gray and drizzling. Elena showed up in jeans and a soft sweater instead of her uniform, looking younger, more relaxed. Ethan immediately dragged her to his room to show off a new robotics kit. I can't make it work, he complained. The instructions are confusing. Marcus watched from the doorway as Elena sat cross-legged on the floor, examining the kit. That's because these instructions are wrong. See, they're asking you to create a circuit that can't possibly complete. So it's broken? No, sweetie. We just need to think around their mistake. She began reorganizing the components. Sometimes the official way isn't the right way. Sometimes you have to build your own path. Within minutes, she'd helped Ethan create not just a working robot, but an improved version that could navigate obstacles the original design couldn't handle. How did you learn this stuff? Ethan asked, eyes wide. Same way you are, by being curious and not giving up when things seem impossible. Marcus slipped away as the first investors arrived. Among them was Richard Park, CEO of Park Technologies and notorious for his brutal assessments. This better be worth my time, Chun, Park grumbled. Your last quarter numbers were concerning. I promise you'll see something remarkable today, Marcus replied. The meeting proceeded normally for the first hour, projections, analytics, strategic planning. Then, right on cue, alarms began blaring from Marcus's laptop. What's happening? Demanded Janet Liu, another board member. System breach, Marcus said, pulling up the diagnostic. Someone's attacking our test servers. It was a controlled simulation, of course, but the investors didn't know that. Marcus had created a puzzle that would challenge even his best engineers. Layers of misdirection, false flags, and recursive traps. Can your team handle it? Park asked. They're all at the downtown office. It would take them an hour to, Dad. Ethan's voice carried from the hallway. Your computer is making weird noises. Not now, buddy. But Elena says she might know what's wrong. The room went still. Marcus fought to keep his expression neutral. Elena's the babysitter, Ethan. She wouldn't. She fixed my robot when the instructions were wrong. Maybe she can fix your computer too? Park snorted. The babysitter? Really, Chun? It's probably nothing, Marcus said. But I suppose it couldn't hurt to look. Elena appeared in the doorway, clearly uncomfortable with the room full of suits. I'm sorry to interrupt. Ethan was worried about the alarms. It's a complex system breach, Marcus explained. Nothing you need to concern yourself with. But Elena's eyes had already found the screen. That same recognition flickered across her face. May I? This is ridiculous, Park muttered. Actually, Janet Liu leaned forward. I'm curious. Let her try. Elena approached the laptop slowly. The investors watched with expressions ranging from amusement to annoyance. She studied the code for maybe 10 seconds. It's a honeypot, she said suddenly. Marcus kept his face carefully blank. Excuse me. The breach, it's fake. Someone wants you to think you're being attacked from outside, but look, she pointed to a specific line. This timestamp is from 3 days ago, but it's presenting as real-time. And here, the attack pattern is too perfect, like someone's following a textbook. Real hackers are messy, eh? She straightened. If I had to guess, someone's running a penetration test on your system. The question is whether it's authorized or if you have an employee trying to prove a point. The room was dead silent. How? Park's voice was barely a whisper. How could you possibly know that? Elena shifted uncomfortably. I watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. Don't, Janet Liu said sharply. Don't diminish what you just did. That was master-level analysis. Elena glanced at Marcus, saw something in his expression, and understanding dawned. You knew. This was a test. I needed them to see, Marcus said simply. See what? The dancing monkey? The maid who can do tricks. Elena's voice was steady, but her hands trembled. Excuse me. I need to get back to Ethan. She left, dignity intact, but walls clearly shaken. Park was the first to speak. Who is she really? Exactly who she appears to be, Marcus replied. A brilliant woman who cleans my house because the world never gave her a chance to be anything else. That's criminal, Janet Liu said. That level of talent, wasted. Then let's stop wasting it, Marcus suggested. I want to create a new position, algorithm consultant. Part-time, flexible hours, no degree required. Just pure skill. The board would never approve, Park started. The board just watched a babysitter solve in 10 seconds what would have taken our team an hour to even identify, Janet interrupted. I think the board might be more flexible than you assume. After the investors left, Marcus found Elena in Ethan's room, helping him code a simple game on his tablet. I'm sorry, he said. I shouldn't have ambushed you like that. But you're not sorry about the result, Elena observed. No, he admitted. I'm not. She sighed, still focused on the tablet. What happens now? Now I make you an offer. A real one. Not charity, not pity, a position that matches your actual value. And if I say no, then you keep cleaning my house, and I keep pretending I don't know you're probably smarter than half my engineering team. Elena finally looked at him. All my life, I've been invisible. It's safe being invisible. Safe, Marcus agreed. But is safe enough anymore? She turned back to Ethan, who was absorbed in his coding. I need to think about it. Take all the time you need. But Marcus could see it in her eyes, the hunger to finally step into the light. The only question was whether fear or ambition would win. Elena didn't come to work for 3 days. No call, no text, just silence that ate at Marcus like acid. He found himself checking the security feeds, hoping to see her familiar figure at the door. Ethan asked about her constantly. Where's Elena? She promised to teach me loops today. She's taking some time off, Marcus explained, though he wasn't sure if she was ever coming back. On the 4th day, she appeared at 7 a.m. sharp, in her uniform, as if nothing had happened. Elena, I have conditions, she said without preamble, setting down her supplies. If we're going to do this, we do it my way. Marcus felt relief flood through him. I'm listening. First, I remain the housekeeper. Officially, I don't want an office or a fancy title or corporate emails. I work from here, on my schedule. That's unusual, but second, she continued, I want to be paid per problem solved, not hourly. You give me a challenge, I fix it, we negotiate fair compensation. No salary, no benefits package to tie me down. Elena, benefits are meant to protect you. Benefits are meant to create dependence, she countered. I've been taking care of myself since I was 17. I don't need corporate handcuffs. Marcus studied her. What else? Ethan doesn't know. As far as he's concerned, I'm still just Elena who makes good pancakes and helps with homework. I won't be the reason he starts seeing people differently based on their perceived value. And the last condition? Elena's eyes hardened. When I solve your problems, you don't get to parade me around like a success story. No publicity, no look how progressive we are press releases. I'm a ghost in your system. Invisible, but effective. You're worth more than that, Marcus said quietly. Worth is subjective. These are my terms. Marcus realized he was negotiating with someone who'd learned to protect herself in ways he'd never had to consider. I accept your conditions, but I have one of my own. Elena raised an eyebrow. You let me teach you the things you missed by not finishing school. Not the coding, you clearly don't need that. But the business side, the politics, the navigation of corporate waters. Think of it as professional development. You want to be my mentor? She seemed genuinely surprised. I want to give you tools to go with your talent. What you do with them is your choice. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Then she extended her hand. Deal. They shook, and Marcus felt like he was touching lightning. Now, Elena picked up her cleaning supplies. I believe you have a kitchen that needs attention. And also, she pulled out her phone, showing him a screen full of code. Your mobile app has a memory leak that's causing crashes on older Android devices. I wrote a patch on the bus this morning. Marcus stared at the elegant solution. You debugged our app on your commute? I get bored easily. She headed for the kitchen. The patch is already in your test environment. Have your team verify it. Then we can discuss my fee. Over the next month, Elena fell into a rhythm that defied every corporate norm Marcus knew. She'd arrive each morning, complete her housekeeping duties with meticulous care, then settle into solving whatever challenge he presented. Some days it was optimization problems. Others, security vulnerabilities. Once, she completely restructured their database architecture while doing laundry. This is insane, Tom Bradley, Marcus's CTO, said during a team meeting. Who is this consultant? Their solutions are brilliant, but they refuse to join video calls or use company email. They prefer to remain anonymous, Marcus replied carefully. Anonymous? They've saved us 6 months of development time. The board wants to meet them. The board will have to be satisfied with results. But keeping Elena's secret grew harder as her impact became impossible to ignore. She'd solved 14 critical issues, each solution more elegant than the last. The engineering team had started calling their mysterious helper the Ghost. I heard the Ghost fixed the payment gateway issue in 20 minutes, one developer said during a coffee break. 20? I heard it was 10, another replied. Whoever they are, they're not human. No one codes that clean that fast. Marcus found Elena in his office that afternoon, polishing his awards while simultaneously typing on her phone. You're becoming a legend, he said. Legends are dangerous. She replied without looking up. They attract attention. Some attention might be good. You could have your pick of positions. I have a position. She finished polishing his MIT Alumni Award with particular vigor. Several, actually. I clean for 5 houses in this neighborhood. Mrs. Patterson pays me extra to organize her grandson's birthday parties. Mr. Yamamoto tips well when I help him with his Japanese lessons. You speak Japanese? I speak 6 languages. Turns out having a good memory for syntax applies to more than just code. She moved to dust his bookshelf. My point is, I've built a life that works. Why would I trade that for a cubicle and performance reviews? Because you're capable of so much more. Elena turned, fixing him with a look that could cut glass. More than what? More than ensuring your home is comfortable? More than teaching your son that kindness matters more than titles? More than supporting my mother through her chemotherapy with work that lets me control my hours? Marcus felt properly chastised. I didn't mean, you meant well. Elena softened slightly. You always do. But Marcus, not everyone defines success the way you do. Some of us measure it in smaller, quieter victories. She was right, of course. But Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that the world was being robbed of something extraordinary. That evening, as Elena helped Ethan with a school project about careers, the boy asked innocently, What do you want to be when you grow up, Elena? She smiled. I am grown up, silly. But like, your dream job. Everyone has a dream job. Elena glanced at Marcus, who pretended to be absorbed in his laptop. My dream job is one where I get to solve puzzles all day and help people I care about. Turns out, I already have that. But don't you want to be important? Ethan, Elena sat beside him. Let me tell you a secret. The most important people are rarely the ones with the biggest offices or the fanciest titles. They're the ones who make life better in small, daily ways. The teacher who stays late to help a struggling student. The bus driver who waits an extra second for someone running to catch the ride. The person who notices when you're sad and makes you smile. Like you do for me and Dad. Exactly like that. Marcus felt his throat tighten. In trying to elevate Elena to what he considered success, he nearly missed what she'd been teaching all along. That value isn't measured in corporate metrics. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans for Elena Rodriguez. The call came at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Marcus jolted awake to his phone buzzing insistently, the screen showing Tom Bradley's name. We're under attack. Tom's voice was pure panic. Real attack this time. They've encrypted our entire cloud infrastructure. Everything's locked. Marcus sat up, instantly alert. Ransomware. Worse. It's targeted, sophisticated. They're demanding 50 million in cryptocurrency or they'll release our client data. We have 6 hours. I'm on my way. Marcus, the FBI is already here. This is beyond what our team can handle. We need a miracle. Marcus's mind raced. His entire company, 10 years of building, thousands of jobs, all hanging by a thread. He thought of Elena, probably asleep in her small apartment across the city. She'd explicitly said she didn't want to be visible, didn't want the pressure of being a known quantity. But $50 million. Client privacy. Everything at stake. He made the call. Elena answered on the second ring, sounding surprisingly alert. Marcus, I need you. The company, we're under attack. Real attack. I wouldn't ask if, send a car, she interrupted. I'll be ready in 10 minutes. The ride to Chin Technologies headquarters was silent. Elena had thrown a hoodie over her pajamas, her laptop bag clutched in her lap. She stared out the window, fingers unconsciously tapping code patterns on her knee. I won't let them know who you are, Marcus promised. You can work from my office, I'll relay. No. Her voice was firm. If I do this, I do it right. No hiding, no telephone game. That wastes time we don't have. But your conditions were for normal days. This isn't normal. She turned to him, and in the passing streetlights he saw determination mixed with fear. But Marcus, if I walk in there as myself, everything changes. You understand that? He nodded. I won't let anything happen to you. You can't promise that. Once I'm visible, I'm vulnerable. She took a deep breath. But your company employs over 3,000 people. That's 3,000 families depending on us solving this. So we solve it. The Chin Technologies building was in chaos. FBI agents mixed with security personnel, engineers hunched over laptops, executives pacing like caged animals. The war room, a conference space converted to crisis management, buzzed with desperate energy. Who's this? Tom Bradley demanded as Marcus entered with Elena. This is Elena Rodriguez. She's the ghost, Elena said simply. And we're wasting time with introductions. The room went silent. Every engineer who'd wondered about their mysterious savior now stared at the woman in a hoodie and sneakers. You're the ghost. Tom's disbelief was palpable. But you're running out of time, Elena cut him off. Show me what we're dealing with. Someone pulled up the attack signature on the main screen. Elena studied it for 30 seconds, then moved to an empty workstation. This isn't ransomware. It's a distraction. What? The FBI's lead tech analyst leaned forward. The encryption is real, but it's not the endgame. Elena's fingers flew across the keyboard. Look at the patterns. They're not trying to steal data. They're trying to keep you busy while they do something else. She pulled up system logs, scrolling through thousands of entries faster than anyone could follow. There. Shadow processes initiated 40 minutes before the encryption. They're not taking your data. They're replacing it. Replacing? Marcus moved closer. Corporate espionage evolution. Don't steal secrets, alter them. Change formulas just enough to cause failures. Modify client contracts to create legal loopholes. Poison the data at the source. She spun to face the room. If we don't stop this, you won't just lose money. You'll lose trust. Forever. Can you stop it? Tom asked. Elena turned back to her screen. Everyone be quiet. I need to think in my own language. What followed was the most intense 4 hours of Marcus's life. Elena worked like a woman possessed, writing code faster than most people could read. She built countermeasures in real time, adapting as the attackers noticed her presence and tried to accelerate their timeline. They're good, she muttered, sweat beading on her forehead. Really good. Military-grade good. Military. The FBI analyst moved closer. The code structure. It's too clean, too disciplined. This isn't hackers in a basement. She paused, eyes widening. Oh my God. I know this signature. You recognize it? Elena's hands stilled. When I was at NYU, before I dropped out, there was a group of us. We called ourselves the White Rabbits. Ethical hacking, system testing, that sort of thing. One of our members went dark after graduation, started working for less ethical employers. You know who's doing this? Adrian Volkov. Brilliant, ruthless, and holding a grudge because Marcus's company outbid his for a defense contract last year. She resumed typing. But knowing him is an advantage. I know how he thinks. The battle raged in cyberspace. Elena countered each move, anticipated each feint. She was playing chess at light speed, her opponent equally matched, but not expecting resistance of this caliber. Got you, she whispered, executing a final string of commands. The screens cleared. Systems came back online. The encryption crumbled, revealing clean, unaltered data beneath. How? Tom stared at the restoration in awe. I let him think he was winning, then trapped him in his own recursive loop. He'll spend the next 6 hours trying to escape code that references itself infinitely. Elena slumped in her chair. Your data is safe, but you need better security. Much better. The room erupted in cheers. People rushed to shake her hand, pat her back, shower her with gratitude. Elena looked overwhelmed, glancing at Marcus with something like panic. All right, everyone, Marcus stepped in. Let's give Miss Rodriguez some space. We have cleanup to do. As the room slowly cleared, the FBI analyst approached. That was extraordinary work. We could use someone like you. Elena shook her head. I just wanted to help. I'm not looking for Rodriguez. A voice from the doorway made everyone turn. Richard Park stood there, having arrived sometime during the crisis. Elena Rodriguez? You were the one Stanford rejected from their computer science program 5 years ago. I remember because I was on the review board. We turned you down because of incomplete financial aid paperwork. Elena's face went carefully blank. Yes, that was my mistake. One of the worst of my career, apparently. Park moved closer. Would you consider, Mr. Park? Elena stood, exhaustion and emotion making her voice shake. 5 years ago, I begged for a chance. I sent emails, made calls, offered to work for free just to audit classes. Do you know what your secretary told me? That Stanford doesn't make exceptions for people who can't follow simple application procedures. The room was silent again, but differently now. That rejection letter came the same day my mom was diagnosed with cancer. I had to choose between fighting for an education or fighting for her life. Elena pulled off her hoodie, revealing a worn t-shirt underneath. I made my choice. And despite what you all think, I don't regret it. She grabbed her laptop bag. Your system is secure. My consulting fee will be reasonable, as agreed. Marcus, I'll see you Thursday for my regular shift. Elena, Marcus started. Thursday, she repeated firmly and walked out. The war room stood in stunned silence. They'd witnessed not just technical brilliance, but the human cost of systems that measured worth by the wrong metrics. Did we just watch her save our company and then go back to being a housekeeper? Tom asked incredulously. No, Marcus said quietly. We watched her show us who she's always been. We're the ones who are just now paying attention. But something had shifted. Elena Rodriguez was no longer invisible, and Marcus knew that would bring complications neither of them could predict. The headlines started appearing within 24 hours. Mystery woman saves tech giant from cyber attack. The housekeeper who stopped hackers from mop to keyboard. The Elena Rodriguez story. Marcus watched Elena's carefully constructed invisibility crumble in real time. Her photo, captured by security cameras during the crisis, was everywhere. The media loved the narrative. Brilliant woman overlooked by the system proves everyone wrong. I told you this would happen, Elena said quietly, standing in his home office Thursday morning. She held a stack of newspapers, each featuring her face. This is why I wanted to stay invisible. I'm sorry. I've tried to contain it, but it's a good story. David versus Goliath. The American Dream. She set the papers on his desk. Except now I can't take the bus without people staring. Mrs. Patterson fired me because she's uncomfortable having a celebrity clean her toilets. My mother's getting calls from reporters. Marcus felt the weight of guilt. Let me help. Security, a new apartment. I don't want your protection. I want my life back. Elena sank into a chair. Do you know what happened yesterday? A tech startup CEO showed up at my mother's treatment center. During her chemotherapy, he tried to recruit me while she was hooked up to an 4. That's unconscionable. That's opportunity knocking, according to him. She rubbed her eyes. I've had 43 job offers in 2 days. 6 marriage proposals from strangers who think I'm their genius waifu. My landlord wants to triple my rent because I'm famous now. Move in here, Marcus said without thinking. Elena's head snapped up. What? The guest wing. It's private, secure. You'd have your own entrance. Ethan would love having you around more. He paused. It's practical. Practical, Elena repeated, something unreadable in her voice. And what would people say about your housekeeper living in your mansion? Since when do you care what people say? Since they started camping outside my building. The outburst seemed to surprise her. She took a breath. I'm sorry. I know you meant well. You always mean well. I destroyed your life by trying to improve it. No, Elena said softly. You showed me I was hiding from more than just corporate culture. I was hiding from myself. Before Marcus could respond, Ethan burst in. Elena, you're famous. Kids at school say you're a superhero who fights bad guys with computers. Elena's tension melted. Not a superhero, sweetheart. Just someone who solves puzzles. Can you teach me to solve puzzles like you do? Of course. But first, don't you have school? As Ethan ran to get his backpack, Elena stood. I'll stay. In the guest wing. But only until I figure out my next move. Take all the time you need. That evening, Elena moved in with just 2 suitcases and her laptop bag. Marcus had prepared the best guest suite, but she chose the smaller one, closer to the kitchen, she said, more practical for early mornings. The first few days were awkward. Elena maintained her professional distance, keeping to her routine despite living under the same roof. But proximity has a way of breaking down walls. Can't sleep? Marcus found her on the terrace at 2 a.m., laptop open, city lights reflecting in her glasses. Coding helps me think. She didn't look up. I'm building something. Can I see? She hesitated, then turned the screen. It was an educational platform, elegant, intuitive, designed for people learning to code without formal resources. It's for kids like I was, she explained. Smart, but locked out. If they can't get to education, maybe I can bring education to them. This is brilliant. The interface alone, it's just an idea. It's more than that. Marcus sat beside her. This could change lives. Or it could be another failed startup by someone who doesn't know how to play the game. She closed the laptop. I'm good at solving problems, Marcus. I'm not good at selling solutions. So learn. Or partner with someone who is. Elena looked at him, moonlight catching the uncertainty in her eyes. Why do you care so much about what I do? The question hung between them. Marcus could give the safe answer. Talk about talent and potential and waste. Instead, he told the truth. Because you've made me question everything I thought I knew about success. Because watching you work is like watching art being created. Because, he stopped, suddenly aware of how close they were sitting. Because, Elena's voice was barely a whisper. Because somewhere between you fixing my code and teaching my son about kindness, I started caring about your happiness more than makes professional sense. Elena was quiet for so long Marcus wondered if he'd ruined everything. Then she smiled, small, uncertain, but real. That's terribly inconvenient, she said. The worst, he agreed. I don't date employers. Technically, you're an independent contractor. I don't date people who make technicalities either. But she was still smiling. They sat in comfortable silence, the city sprawling below them. Finally, Elena spoke again. I've been alone a long time. By choice, mostly. It's safer. I know something about that. But safe isn't enough anymore. She opened her laptop again. Want to help me build something amazing? Yes, Marcus said, understanding they were talking about more than code. They worked until dawn, creating the framework for what would become EDU Code, a platform that would eventually help millions access free programming education. But that night, it was just 2 people building bridges, both digital and personal. Marcus, Elena said as the sun painted the sky pink. Thank you for seeing me. Even when I was trying to be invisible. Thank you for letting yourself be seen. Ethan found them asleep on the terrace, Elena's head on Marcus's shoulder, laptop still open between them. With 8-year-old wisdom, he grabbed a blanket, covered them carefully, and went to make his own breakfast. Some problems, he'd learned from Elena, solved themselves when you gave them time. 3 months later, EDU Code was ready for beta testing. Elena had poured everything into it. Her technical brilliance, her understanding of struggle, her desire to lift others. Marcus had contributed business acumen and connections, but he was careful to keep it as Elena's project. 500 beta testers signed up in the first hour, Elena announced, staring at her phone in disbelief. They were in the kitchen, supposedly having a working breakfast, but Ethan had turned it into pancake art competition. Dad, your cloud looks like a sheep with a limp, Ethan giggled. It's abstract art, Marcus defended. Elena appreciates abstract art, right? I appreciate effort, Elena said diplomatically, then showed her own pancake. A perfect spiral galaxy. Again. Show off, Marcus muttered, but he was smiling. The doorbell interrupted their moment. Marcus opened it to find Richard Park standing there, looking uncharacteristically humble. "Mr. Park, I need to speak with Miss Rodriguez. Please." Elena appeared, spatula still in hand. "If this is another job offer, it's an apology." Park pulled out an envelope and an attempt at restitution. Inside was a check for $200,000. "What is this?" Elena's voice was sharp. "The estimated cost of the Stanford education you should have received, plus interest." Park shifted uncomfortably. "I've also established a scholarship fund in your name. Full rides for 5 students per year who show exceptional promise regardless of their financial situation." Elena stared at the check. "You think money fixes this?" "No. I think money helps you help others. What you do with it is your choice." Park paused. "I've followed your EDU code project. It's exactly what the world needs. Consider this: seed funding from someone who learned too late that brilliance comes in many packages." After Park left, Elena stood frozen, check in hand. "That's enough to expand EDU code nationally," Marcus said gently. "It's guilt money. It's opportunity. The same opportunity you're trying to give others." Elena set the check on the counter. "I'll think about it." But Marcus could see her mind already racing with possibilities. That evening, while Elena helped Ethan with homework, Marcus's phone rang. Tom Bradley, and he sounded worried. "We have a problem. Adrian Volkov, the hacker Elena stopped, he's out on bail. And he's been asking questions about her." Marcus's blood went cold. "What kind of questions?" "Where she lives, her routines, her weaknesses." "Marcus, I think he's planning something." Marcus found Elena in Ethan's room, reading him a bedtime story. She looked so peaceful, so far removed from the world of cyber warfare and corporate espionage. He waited until Ethan was asleep before telling her. "I'm not afraid of Adrian," she said, but her hands trembled slightly. "You should be. He's dangerous when his ego's bruised." "Then what do you suggest? Hide forever? Run every time someone threatens me?" Elena shook her head. "I've been invisible my whole life. I won't go back to that." "Then let me protect you." "How?" "By keeping me locked in this tower like some fairy tale princess." She stood, pacing. "This is exactly why I didn't want to be known. Visibility makes you a target. Visibility makes you powerful," Marcus countered. "You have allies now. Resources. You're not alone anymore." Elena stopped at the window, looking out at the city. "Sometimes I miss being nobody. Life was simpler. But was it better?" She turned to him. "I had 3 families I cleaned for. Regular schedule, predictable income, no one trying to recruit or threaten me. Now I have a platform that could help millions, a bank account with guilt money, and a stalker with a vendetta. You tell me which is better." Marcus crossed to her. "You also have a son who adores you, a project that's about to change lives, and—" He hesitated. "Someone who loves you." The words hung between them, finally spoken aloud. "I love you, Elena. Not your code, not your potential. You." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "Marcus, I know. Wrong time, wrong circumstances. But with Volkov out there, with everything uncertain, I needed you to know." "You beautiful, complicated man," Elena whispered. "Do you know how hard I've tried not to fall for you? You're everything I said I didn't want. Wealthy, connected, part of a world that rejected me. And none of that matters because you see me. Really see me." She reached up, touching his face. "I love you too. God help me, but I do." He kissed her then, months of tension and possibility crystallizing into a moment of perfect clarity. When they broke apart, Elena was crying and laughing simultaneously. "This complicates everything," she said. "Everything's already complicated. At least now we're complicated together." Elena's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You cost me everything. Time to return the favor. AV." The moment of joy shattered. Adrian Volkov had made his move. "Pack a bag," Marcus said immediately. "We're leaving." "No." Elena's jaw set. "I'm done running. If Adrian wants a fight, he'll get one. But on my terms." "Elena, he's a bully with a keyboard. I've faced worse." She pulled out her laptop. "Time to show him what happens when you threaten the people I love." Marcus watched her transform from the woman he'd just kissed into the warrior who'd saved his company. It was terrifying and magnificent. "What's your plan? Remember how I trapped him in that recursive loop? That was mercy. This time," her fingers flew across the keyboard. "This time I'm going to dismantle his entire digital existence. Legally, ethically, but thoroughly." "How?" Elena smiled, sharp and dangerous. "By doing what I do best, solving problems. and Adrian Volkov just became a problem that needs solving. The battle was about to begin, and this time, Elena Rodriguez wasn't hiding in the shadows. She was stepping into the light, ready to show the world what happened when you underestimated the woman with the mop and the master plan. Adrian Volkov had made a critical error. He'd threatened Elena through digital channels, leaving footprints she could follow. Within hours, she'd mapped his network, identified his assets, and found his weakness: a massive illegal cryptocurrency operation hidden behind shell companies. He's been laundering money through fake coding boot camps, Elena explained to Marcus and the FBI team she'd assembled in their living room, promising desperate people technical training, taking their money, delivering nothing. "Can you prove it?" Agent Sarachin asked. "Give me 6 hours and legal access to financial databases," Elena replied. "I'll give you enough evidence to put him away for decades." But Adrian wasn't waiting. As Elena worked, Chin Technologies came under attack again, this time targeting personal data of employees. Email accounts, home addresses, children's school information. "He's trying to force my hand," Elena muttered, countering each intrusion. "He wants me to make a mistake, do something illegal so he can turn me into the villain." "Elena," Marcus watched her work, concern growing. "You haven't slept in 30 hours. Sleep is for people whose friends aren't being threatened." Another screen popped up, Ethan's school records being accessed. Elena's fury went cold. "He just made this personal. What are you doing?" "Something I should have done months ago." She pulled up a new interface. "I'm calling in the White Rabbits." "Your old hacking group?" "Ethical hacking group. And yes, Adrian was one of us once. He broke the code. Time to remind him why that was a mistake." Within minutes, encrypted messages went out. Responses came back immediately from Silicon Valley, Seattle, Tokyo, London. The White Rabbits remembered their own. "Elena." A video call opened. A woman with purple hair grinned from the screen. "Holy shit, it's really you. We thought you died or gone normal." "Nix." Elena smiled despite everything. "Good to see you. I need help." "Adrian." Nix's expression hardened. "That bastard's been poisoning wells for years." "What's the play?" "Operation Sunshine. Full exposure, legal channels only. I want every crime he's committed dragged into the light." More windows opened. More faces appeared. The White Rabbits, now successful security consultants, tech leaders, ethical hackers, united for the first time in 5 years. "Is that Marcus Chin?" someone asked, spotting him in the background. "Elena, you're living with the enemy?" "He's not the enemy," Elena said firmly. "He's the reason I'm visible again. And Adrian's threatening his son. Our son." She caught herself. "His son who matters to me. You know what that means." "It means Adrian's about to learn why we were the best." Nix cracked her knuckles. "Rabbits, let's run." What followed was a masterclass in coordinated digital investigation. Each rabbit took a different angle: financial forensics, pattern analysis, victim testimonies. They worked like a hive mind, sharing discoveries in real time. "Found his main server," one reported. "Tracing shell company registrations," added another. "Victims identified, over 3,000 across 12 countries." Elena coordinated it all, her exhaustion forgotten in the adrenaline of the hunt. Marcus watched in awe as she became a general commanding an army of geniuses. "Got him," Nix announced after 4 hours. Full money trail, victim statements, even his communications with organized crime. "It's bulletproof." "Send it to Agent Chun," Elena instructed. "Full documentation, chain of custody intact. Make sure." Her screen went black. Then a message appeared. "Nice try, little rabbit. But I have one more card to play." Elena's blood ran cold. "Where's Ethan?" "In his room." Marcus checked the security app. Ethan's window was open, his bed empty. "No," Elena breathed. Then louder, "No." A video feed appeared on her laptop. Ethan sat in what looked like a warehouse, scared but unharmed. Adrian's voice came through distorted. "Simple trade. You destroy everything you've gathered and publicly admit to hacking me. Or, if you hurt him," Elena's voice was deadly calm, "I will end you. Not digitally. Not legally. I will find you and, Elena," Marcus gripped her shoulder. "We'll get him back." "Touching scene," Adrian mocked. "You have 1 hour. Alone, Elena. Just like old times." The feed cut. "We're calling the police," Agent Chun said immediately. "No." Elena stood. "He'll run if he sees cops. This is between us." "Elena, you can't. Watch me." She grabbed her laptop bag. Marcus, trust me. I know Adrian. He's arrogant, thinks he's smarter than everyone. That's his weakness. I'm coming with you. No, he said alone. She kissed him fiercely. I love you. I love Ethan. I'll bring him home. Elena, trust me, she repeated and was gone. The warehouse sat in an industrial district, abandoned and foreboding. Elena entered through the front door, laptop bag over her shoulder. Dramatic location, she called out. Very film noir. Adrian emerged from the shadows, thin, pale, eyes burning with resentment. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your own life when you chose crime over code. Elena kept her voice steady. Where's Ethan? Safe. For now. Adrian gestured to a desk with a computer. Sit. Delete everything. Post the confession. Then we talk about the boy. Elena sat, opened her laptop. You know, I always wondered why you turned. You were brilliant. We all were. But you wanted shortcuts. I wanted success. While you played house, I built an empire. You built a house of cards. Elena's fingers moved across the keyboard. And you forgot the first rule of the White Rabbits. What rule? We protect our own. She hit enter. Every screen in the warehouse lit up. The White Rabbits had been busy, not just gathering evidence, but tracing Adrian's location, hacking the building's systems, calling in favors. What did you? I sent them everything the moment I walked in. FBI surrounding the building. Your cryptocurrency wallets? Frozen. Your escape routes? Blocked. Elena stood. But more importantly, a door burst open. Ethan ran out, not from where Adrian had been hiding him, but from a completely different direction. Elena, he threw himself into her arms. Hey, sweetheart. You okay? I'm okay. The nice lady with purple hair found me. Nick stepped out, grinning. You didn't think we'd let you face him alone? Rabbits run together. Adrian pulled a gun, hands shaking. You clever bitch. Adrian. Elena set Ethan behind her. It's over. Put it down. You took everything. No. You threw it away. Just like you threw away our friendship, our code, our purpose. She stepped forward. But it doesn't have to end like this. Put the gun down. Do your time. Learn from it. Maybe one day you can build something real instead of stealing from others. For a moment, Adrian wavered. Then FBI agents flooded in, and he dropped the weapon, defeat replacing rage. As they led him away, he looked back. Why help me? After everything. Because, Elena said quietly, someone once gave me a second chance when I needed it. Maybe someday you'll do the same for someone else. Outside, Marcus waited with the FBI team. When he saw them emerge, Elena carrying Ethan, he ran to them, pulling both into a fierce embrace. Don't ever do that again, he whispered into Elena's hair. Which part? The saving your company, the building educational platforms, or the rescuing our son from cybercriminals? Our son. Ethan looked up at her with wide eyes. Elena froze, realizing what she'd said. I meant, did you mean it? Ethan asked seriously. Could you be my mom? My real mom doesn't visit anymore, and you're already here, and you make better pancakes. Elena looked at Marcus, tears in her eyes. He nodded, smiling through his own tears. If you want me to be, Elena said softly. I want. Ethan declared, hugging her tighter. Then yes, I'm your mom. In all the ways that matter. Agent Chen cleared her throat. Ms. Rodriguez? We'll need your statement, but, thank you. Your work today saved thousands of victims. We saved them. Elena corrected, gesturing to where the White Rabbits had gathered. All of us. As statements were given and reports filed, Marcus noticed Elena swaying on her feet. When did you last eat? He asked. Tuesday? Maybe Monday. Come on, superhero. Let's get you home. I'm not a superhero, Elena protested as he guided her to the car. No, Ethan piped up. You're better. You're our Elena. In the car, Elena finally let exhaustion take over, falling asleep against Marcus's shoulder. Ethan curled up on her other side, protective even in his 8-year-old way. Dad, Ethan whispered. We're a real family now, right? Marcus looked at Elena, brilliant, brave, beautiful Elena, who'd started as his housekeeper and became his heart. The realist, he confirmed. They drove home through the dawn, a family forged in fire and code, ready for whatever came next. 1 year later, the Chen Technologies annual gala looked different than ever before. Instead of the usual black tie affair at a luxury hotel, it was held at a community center in Queens. Instead of champagne and caviar, there was pizza from local restaurants and cake from a neighborhood bakery. Instead of just executives and investors, the room was full of students, hundreds of them, all graduates of EDU Code's first year. Elena stood at the podium, wearing not an evening gown but her favorite jeans and a t-shirt that read Code like a girl. The audience didn't care about her casual attire. To them, she was a legend. A year ago, she began, I was cleaning houses and solving code problems in secret. I believed talent without credentials meant nothing. I was wrong. The room was silent, hanging on every word. Talent is everywhere. In the kid who fixes phones in his uncle's shop. In the single mom who debugs her company's spreadsheets because no one else can. In the teenager who builds apps to help her grandfather manage his medications. Elena smiled. Each of you proved that this year. You took free courses, you practiced on borrowed computers, you refused to let circumstances define your capabilities. Applause thundered through the room. Today, we're announcing EDU Code 2.0. Not just online courses, but physical locations in underserved communities. Real computers, real mentorship, real opportunities. And, she paused for effect, guaranteed job interviews with partner companies for every graduate who completes the program. The cheer was deafening. In the front row, Ethan jumped up and down, wearing his My Mom Codes t-shirt that he'd designed himself. Marcus stood beside him, pride radiating from every pore. But first, Elena continued as the noise died down. I need to tell you about failure. My failure. The room grew quiet again. 6 months ago, I tried to launch a startup. AI-driven educational assessments. I had the best code, the best intentions, and absolutely no idea how to run a business. I burned through investment money, made terrible hiring decisions, and nearly gave up. She looked directly at several students she recognized. But you know what? Failing taught me more than succeeding ever did. It taught me to ask for help, to admit what I don't know, to build teams instead of trying to do everything alone. So today, I'm not just announcing EDU Code 2.0. I'm announcing that I'm stepping back as sole leader. Instead, we're creating a council, successful graduates who understand the communities we serve. Because the best solutions come from people who've lived the problems. As she introduced the new council members, a formerly homeless veteran who now worked at Microsoft, a high school dropout who'd become a security expert, a grandmother who'd learned to code at 65 and now taught others, Elena felt the rightness of it. This wasn't her project anymore. It belonged to everyone who'd ever been told they weren't enough. After the presentation, Elena found herself in the courtyard, taking a moment to breathe. The past year had been a whirlwind. Adrian's trial. He got 15 years but enrolled in prison education programs. The wedding, small, perfect, with Ethan as ring bearer and the White Rabbits as the world's most overqualified wedding party. And the constant balance of being visible while maintaining some privacy. You know, Nix appeared beside her, now a regular part of their lives. When we were young hackers, I never imagined this. What? Me and Mom Jean's running a nonprofit. You happy? Nix corrected. Really, truly happy. Not hiding, not apologizing, not making yourself smaller. Just being. Elena smiled. It's terrifying sometimes. Being seen, being known, having people depend on me. But it's also the most alive I've ever felt. Elena. Ethan ran up, dragging a young girl about his age. This is Maria. She's learning Python. I told her you'd help with her homework. Of course, Elena knelt to Maria's level. What are you working on? As the girl shyly explained her project, Marcus appeared with cups of coffee. Real coffee, not the technical kind that had started everything. The Times wants to do another profile, he said quietly. The one-year follow-up story. No, Elena said automatically, then paused. Actually, yes, but on one condition. They interview the graduates, not me. Let the story be about them, their journeys, their successes. I'm just the person who opened a door. You're more than that, Marcus said. To you. To Ethan, yes. But to the world. Elena stood, still holding Maria's hand. I'm proof that talent exists everywhere. That's enough. Later that evening, as they drove home, to their new house, modest, comfortable, with a dedicated coding lab in the basement, Ethan fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from playing with the other kids. No dramatic rescues today, Marcus observed. No corporate crises, no cyber villains. Just normal. Disappointed. Elena asked. Relieved, he admitted. I like normal. Normal means Ethan's safe, you're not pulling all-nighters fighting hackers, and I actually make it home for dinner. You've changed, Elena observed. The Marcus I met would have been checking emails during the presentation. The Marcus you met was an idiot who thought success meant working yourself to death. He took her hand. The Elena I met taught me better. We taught each other, she corrected. They drove in comfortable silence until Elena suddenly laughed. What? Marcus asked. I just remembered. It's been exactly 18 months since I spilled orange juice on Richard Hamilton. Best accident ever, Marcus grinned. Though he still flinches when anyone carries drinks near him. Some lessons stick, Elena said innocently. As they pulled into their driveway, Ethan stirred. Are we home? We're home, Elena confirmed. Good, he mumbled. I want to show you the app I'm building tomorrow. It helps kids find free lunch programs. Elena and Marcus exchanged looks. Their son, all of 9 years old, was already thinking about using code to help others. We've created a monster, Marcus whispered. The best kind, Elena whispered back. Inside, as they carried a sleepy Ethan to bed, Elena noticed her old maid's uniform hanging in the closet. She'd kept it as a reminder, not of where she'd been, but of how every journey begins with a single step, even if that step is just picking up someone else's mess and fixing what's broken. Elena, Marcus said softly as they tucked Ethan in. Remember when you said you were nobody? She nodded. You were wrong. You were always somebody. It just took the rest of us a while to notice. Elena kissed him softly. And now you're everybody's somebody. The students, the graduates, the kids who see themselves in your story. He pulled her close. But mostly you're ours. As they stood in their son's doorway, watching him sleep with his laptop still open beside him, like mother, like son, Elena felt the truth of it. She'd spent so long trying to be invisible, to be safe, to be enough. But visibility hadn't destroyed her. It had transformed her into who she was meant to be. Come on, she whispered to Marcus. I've got code to review for tomorrow's class. At midnight. The best ideas come at midnight, she grinned. Besides, someone's got to prepare for Maria's Python questions. Did you see how her eyes lit up when she talked about loops? Marcus laughed quietly. Another future genius in the making? They're all geniuses, Elena said simply. They just need someone to see it. As they settled into their home office, side by side, laptops open, building tomorrow's possibilities one line of code at a time, Elena thought about the journey. From invisible housekeeper to visible teacher. From solving problems in secret to showing others they could solve their own. From being nobody to being exactly who she was meant to be. The code on her screen was complex, but the solution was simple. Just like life, complicated problems, elegant solutions, and the courage to be seen for who you really are. Hey Marcus, she said as her fingers flew across the keyboard. I love our life. Even the parts with cyber criminals and corporate espionage. Especially those parts, she grinned. They make the normal days sweeter. You're crazy, he said fondly. Probably, Elena agreed. But I'm your kind of crazy. And in a house full of computers and love, dreams and determination, a family that had found each other in the most unlikely way continued writing their story. One line of code, one student, one possibility at a time. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. Because somewhere across the city, a young woman sat in a homeless shelter, teaching herself to code on a borrowed laptop, about to send an email that would change everything. Dear Ms. Rodriguez, my name is Alicia, and I'm 15. I've been living in shelters for 2 years, but I just completed your basic course. I think I found a bug in your system, but I also think I know how to fix it. Could we talk? Elena would read that email in the morning. She would meet Alicia. She would see herself reflected in those determined young eyes. And the cycle would continue, not of poverty and limitation, but of possibility and lifted hands reaching back to lift others. Because that's what heroes do. Not the cape-wearing kind, but the real ones. The ones who clean houses and fix code. The ones who see potential where others see problems. The ones who know that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show someone they're not invisible. The ones who know that every revolution begins with someone brave enough to say, I see you. You matter. Now let me show you what you can do. You won't believe how this story ends. Please hit subscribe to follow this story on my channel.